Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Defense Logistics Agency. I am Master Sergeant Marlon Kahina, United States Marine Corps, and your narrator for today's event. Today we're prepared to honor the achievements of our organization as recipients of the Joint Meritorious Unit Award. Welcome a new leader during a change of responsibility ceremony, whereas Command Sergeant Major Tomeka O'Neill, United States Army, will relinquish her position as Senior Enlisted Leader to Command Chief Master Sergeant Alvin Dyer, United States Air Force, and bid farewell to a respected comrade as Command Sergeant Major Tomeka O'Neill retires after 34 years of dedicated and faithful service to our nation. The presiding official for today's ceremony is Vice Admiral Michelle Skubic, Director, Defense Logistics Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the rendering of honors, presentation of colors by the Defense Logistics Agency Color Guard, playing of the national anthem, and the invocation delivered by Sergeant First Class Michael Heyer, Senior Religious Affairs Specialist, Defense Logistics Agency. Present the colors.
Present arms. Right shoulder, arms. Right face. Forward, march.
So our first class hire will now deliver the invocation.
I invite you all to pray with me according to your faith. Let us pray. Almighty God, we come before you today with grateful hearts for the dedication of our team members. As we gather to honor and celebrate their achievements, we ask for your presence and guidance. Today we witness a passing of the torch and a transition of leadership. We pray for Command Sergeant Major O'Neill, thanking her for her service and asking for your guidance as she embraces the next chapter of her life. May her leadership example continue to inspire and influence others throughout her journey. I also ask that you bless Command Sergeant Major O'Neill as we formally recognize and thank her for her years of dedication, sacrifice, and commitment to defending our nation. Provide her with a sense of purpose, joy, and fulfillment as she transitions into civilian life. We seek your divine guidance for Command Chief Master Sergeant Dyer, that he may lead with wisdom, compassion, and humility. Grant him the strength to serve those entrusted to his care with dedication and integrity. Lord, I ask for your continued guidance and protection over our service members, both past and present. Help us cherish their service, offering support and gratitude for all they have done. May our words and actions reflect the appreciation we have for their selflessness. I conclude this prayer with heartfelt gratitude, knowing you hear our prayers. In your name, I humbly pray. Amen.
Thank you, DLA Color Guard, and thank you, Sergeant First Class Hire, for those inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to introduce our presiding official, Vice Admiral Michelle Skubic, Director, Defense Logistics Agency.
It's great to look out in this audience and see so many family, friends, colleagues, and admirers of our senior enlisted leaders on stage, inbound and outbound, Command Senior Enlisted Leaders. So good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here from near and far. It's a great DLA day. It's a great Army day. It's a great Air Force day. It's a great day for all of us. And we are going to transition the Command Senior Enlisted Leader responsibilities from Command Sergeant Major Tomeka Nolan O'Neill to Command Chief Master Sergeant Alvin Dyer. Chief Dyer will be DLA's 8th Senior Enlisted Leader and our first from the Air Force. We'll also honor and celebrate the accomplishments of my battle buddy and shipmate, Command Sergeant Major O'Neill, after her 34-year distinguished career. She'll hang up her boots after some much-deserved leave and start a new chapter in her life. And as you know, for the past 3 years, she's just done a superb job in forging and sustaining touch points across our agency and throughout the department. She's been an effective voice of our command, serving as our standard bearer of mission, ethics, and teamwork during a demanding and rather unprecedented time. And we thank her for her compassionate leadership that she has displayed during this time with DLA and throughout 34 amazing years. And she's been a role model and a trailblazer to boot. And if that's not enough for today's ceremony, we're also going to add the feature of celebrating with another streamer on our agency colors, denoting DLA's 9th Joint Meritorious Unit Award. And I think it's only appropriate that we do this with Command Sergeant Major, given she has been with us during much of the recognized period, which was January of 19 to December of 21. And so, again, during that, you were an active contributor and, again, the standard bearer and voice of our team. It is my honor to preside today and to have so many of you here with us. Our Vice Director, Mr. Bond, thank you. Our Chief of Staff, Mr. Smith. Our MSC commanders who could make it, DLA SESs and JDERs, and flags and general officers from around the community and the Joint Logistics Enterprise and otherwise. And again, so many of you former battle buddies, former teammates of Sergeant Major O'Neill. So I know we have a lot of senior enlisted leaders here today, former and active and retired, as well as our DLA teammates, and of course, family and colleagues, and so many friends, those who are watching with us here today and watching online either now or later. I have to say thank you to so many people who put time into making today a special event. And that includes the participants and the coordinators, starting with Sergeant First Class Gary. He really put a lot of time and attention to all the particulars today. Master Sergeant Kahina, thank you for being the MC. Sergeant First Class Hire, thanks for the invocation. And to the recently established DLA NCO Color Guard for marching on the colors for their first time. Wow. And to all who work both on the stage and behind the scenes, the installation folks, protocol folks, folks in the AV booth. There's so much attention to detail. Just even driving in the parking lot today, I saw where you had blocked off space so our visitors could be here. So thank you. So just again, to all the coordinators, to participants, and all of you for being here. It's a special day, and your presence and your effort are very much appreciated. And of course, we want to recognize family members for their important role that they've played, especially in the life and the career of Command Sergeant Major O'Neill and Chief Dyer as well. So for Command Sergeant Major O'Neill, her daughter is here today. Chanel is here from Katy, Texas, just west of Houston. So we're glad you could fly in, Chanel. And Texas, by the way, will soon be CSM's new home. So welcome, Chanel. And I know watching online now or later, CSM O'Neill's mother, Maureen Nolan, sisters Kim and Pam, Auntie Faye, and niece Larissa are supposed to be watching virtually. So I hope they made it. Chief Master Sergeant Dyer's family is with us online as well, starting with his wife, T, watching from Florida. Their son, Christian, is 24, and we've got a Houston theme going on here. He's studying information technology in Houston. And then their daughter, Cassidy, is 18. She's a sophomore at Florida A&M in Tallahassee, Florida. And I know CSM O'Neill and Chief Dyer would foot stomp to all of us just how critically important their family has been to their ability to serve, for them to thrive in their careers. And so to all of the family members for your personal sacrifices, changing schools, changing locations, having to make new friends and churches and patterns of, behavior, sports, et cetera, jobs. Thank you very much for your sacrifices. And how about a round of applause for both these families? So many of you might know background on our retiree today, but for those who don't, I'll give you a little info. So young Tomeka split her early years between Chicago, where she was born, and later East Point, Georgia, where she graduated from high school. And she also spent a significant amount of time alongside her 4 siblings under the loving watch of her grandmother in Tennessee. In 1989, Tomeka graduated high school and was faced with some life decisions at the ripe old age of 70. She was looking for self-improvement and growth, but did not have her sights set on college. So she looked for some inspiration inside the family. Her brother, Kent, was serving in the Airborne Corps, and that inspired her to consider joining the Army, and that's exactly what she did. She attended airborne school as a parachute rigger, which, as we all know, is an extremely important job because it is quite literally a matter of life and death. And picture this, then young Private Tomeka Nolan had to complete jump school, which is monumental in and of itself. But up to that time, she had never stepped on an aircraft. So the very first time she walked onto a plane is the same time she leapt off of one. I can't even imagine the courage, the nerve it must have taken to do that. You'll have to ask her later whether she would do that again, knowing what that first jump felt like. So, and that jump was the first of many, more than 60, in fact, out of all sorts of different types of fixed wing and rotary aircraft. And one of her most unusual jumps occurred in 1997 during an exercise with the Belgian Army from none other than a hot air balloon. That was good for those who couldn't hear it. So at about 8 years into her career, then Sergeant First Class O'Neill transitioned to a supply MOS, or a military occupational specialty, a job. So from 2000 to 2006, she was assigned to various special operations units, support units, where she served as a theater planner in the Europe and Africa areas of responsibility. This was her first foray into logistics, and look where that path led her to today. In 2006, 17 years ago, halfway into her career, CSM O'Neill was selected as a command sergeant major, a high honor and a well-deserved recognition of her superior leadership, experience, and knowledge. Prior to coming to us here at DLA, she had already served as a senior enlisted leader with 7 different commands. So when she arrived here in August of 2020, just a few weeks after I came here to headquarters, it didn't take long for me to understand what a seasoned professional she was, and someone with whom I could trust our agency as the voice of our agency, as an additional pair of eyes and ears across our global team and our workforce. And I have to express my gratitude to my predecessor, Lieutenant General Darrell Williams, for selecting her to serve in this role, for setting DLA up for success these last few years. And during her time at DLA, CSM has been a master of outreach, essential to fostering relationships across all the diverse geographical and functional customers that we support around the globe. She's engaged with senior enlisted leaders at every combatant command, every service, as well as a senior enlisted advisor to the chairman, known as the SEAC. It became evident that she had a process for keeping track of these touch points and for keeping these relationships on track and not letting them wane for lack of attention. That active and effective communication has meant that there are many more command level leaders across all of our customers and across our joint logistics enterprise partners that know about DLA's capabilities, how we can support their mission most effectively. And internally, she's also focused on and maintained an effective communication across our entire workforce. At first, virtually during the pandemic, had to do it that way, and then later, in person. She has personally engaged with DLA teammates during travels to the Indo-Pacific region as well as to Europe. She's visited every one of our major subordinate commands and all 3 of our regional commands. She's been a strong voice of maintaining service standards and improving personal readiness through her updates during the DLA Senior Leader Orientation course and participation in our Joint Reserve Force events. And one of my favorites, our annual holiday message video where there was a little bit of Army-Navy rivalry, subliminally. Go Army, Navy. Later we'll talk about that. CSM O'Neill has also been relentless in promoting a healthier lifestyle to the DLA team. And she was the driving force. She was actually the thought behind, the thinker behind the 2 high-energy fitness videos released as the nation and our agency were emerging from COVID restrictions, you know, inspiring our military personnel and our civilians to get back out there and start moving and get that fitness back in order if it might have slid a little bit during COVID. And she was always leading from the front. She conducted semi-annual all-call engagements for DLA enlisted personnel to get caught up on topics related to their service and to our agency. She also met one-on-one with every single new enlisted member as they arrived to our team, either personally or virtually, depending on their location. And also noteworthy, she's one of 13 senior enlisted leaders to serve on the Sergeant Major of the Army's Senior Enlisted Council. And she's the only member representing a joint agency. That's a big deal. As a voting member, she made an impact on all Army service members as the council worked through policies related to uniform regulations, promotions, grooming standards, the Army Combat Fitness Test, and much more.
Don't be mad at me.
Don't be mad.
Some other guilty ones out there.
I know that the 16th Sergeant Major of the Army, SMA, Michael Grinston, he really wanted to be here today, and his schedule just got away from him. But he's worked with CSM O'Neill over the years, and he offered a quote. CSM O'Neill is a great soldier and an even better friend. Her leadership throughout her career, in and out of combat, has been exceptional. Her sage advice to me as a Division Command Sergeant Major and as a Sergeant Major of the Army has been outstanding. I am proud to call her my friend. Simply put, the world is a better place because CSM O'Neill served her country, unquote. Yeah. Ugh. And as we all know, nobody is successful in their military careers without family, friends, and mentors. And one of CSM O'Neill's early mentors, I think she's here, CSM retired Mary Brown, are you here?
She's virtual.
Oh, she's virtual. All right. So Sergeant Major Brown, she was CSM O'Neill's, then Private Tomeka Nolan, advanced individual training drill sergeant, her drill sergeant in 1989. And she provided this testimony. From the minute Private Tomeka O'Neill stepped off the bus, she displayed discipline, confidence, and a maturity level beyond that of a teenager. Is it any surprise? I told my fellow drill sergeants that day that she was squared away, and that very same private was my platoon guide within a short amount of time. And I saw the leader in her that she proved to be. One of my guiding tenets is, you might not be the best at everything, but at everything, do your best. CSM O'Neill not only used that, but she exceeded that. I can say without a doubt that I am truly honored and proud to say she was my soldier, unquote. Me too, Mary. And as I mentioned, the family members are just so important, such important supporters. So to Chanel, thanks for sharing your mom with us all these decades, to both DLA and to the Army and all the warfighters around the globe. And to Maureen and Kim and Pam and Faye and Larissa and whoever else might have called in virtually, and all the extended family members, thank you for supporting an amazing leader's career for 34 years. The military is a 24/7, and so is your love. And so thank you for that. You have been critical to her success as a leader, her ability to serve effectively as a leader. And one thing's for sure, Mom, I know those calls home were absolute lifelines for Tomeka, and I'm sure they left you a little nervous as you hung up right before the next jump. Sergeant Major, you've been the consummate professional in your duties, the best battle buddy and shipmate, as we say in the Navy. You've connected with people from the most senior leaders to the newest recruits, civilian and military alike. You've been a team builder and a hands-on, approachable leader, and you leave an amazing legacy of compassion for the people you've led. You followed your brother's example and joined the Army, and you found your niche, and you thrived. And we are so fortunate to have benefited from your service. We honor your sacrifice and your dedication. On behalf of the men and women of DLA, on behalf of the Army, if I may be so bold, and on behalf of the DoD and all of the warfighters you have led and supported, thank you for a job very well done. And when it comes to assigning senior enlisted leaders to DLA, I am very happy to say that the services have an amazing track record of nominating their best. And our incoming Command Senior Enlisted Leader, he's no exception. Chief Master Sergeant Alvin Dyer is from Memphis, Tennessee, and he has served in the Air Force since 1995. He comes to us most recently as Command Chief Master Sergeant for one of our key Air Force customers out in the Pacific, the 7th Air Force at Osan Air Base in Korea. And this will be his 5th tour as a Command Senior Enlisted Leader. His military career includes 4 years of deployments to El Salvador, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait twice, Afghanistan, and the United Arab Emirates. And he served in overseas assignments in Korea, Germany, Alaska, and Japan. And his career has been in the civil engineering field, a specialty where he became very familiar with DLA from the customer lens. All of those experiences will make you a great voice of the customers. And now, Chief, you get to experience and influence DLA from the inside. I know you have the background and the experience to make a huge positive impact on our agency and our workforce. We look forward to your leadership and welcome you to the DLA team. So in a moment, we're going to recognize our agency with presentation of the Joint Meritorious Unit Award. This is a team award. We together delivered unprecedented support for the nation's COVID-19 response, not only to the Department of Defense, but to the citizens of our nation and many of our allies and partners. We also provided incredible, extensive support as the U.S. military withdrew out of Afghanistan after 20 years, as well as the non-combatant evacuation operations that you all witnessed, as well as hurricane relief and other natural disaster responses. All of this while we do our day-to-day business every day and do it well, surging in response to meet the warfighter's requirements globally. And this team's recognition is a fitting last official act for CSM O'Neill. She'll join me in adding that next streamer to our colors. And it is certainly a reflection to her connection to all of our teammates and all of our agency's accomplishments these past few years. Again, Sergeant Major, it's been an honor to have you on the leadership team here. And it's been an honor to be a first alongside you. I thank you for your 34 years. And as we say in the Navy, fair winds and following seas. And in this case, as the paratroopers say, I wish you light winds, a full canopy, and a soft landing. And I'm not far behind you. Chief Dyer, again, a hearty welcome to you. I look forward to serving with you for the months ahead. Thank you all for being here today, for being a special part of this ceremony, for meaning something to those on the stage here and meaning something to our warfighters around the globe. May God keep you well. May God bless our military, the service members around the world, especially the service members and the civilians who find themselves in harm's way today. And may He keep our great nation well. Thank you, and warfighter always.
The Joint Meritorious Unit Award is a testament to the hard work and dedication of every civilian and service member within the Defense Logistics Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the screen for a brief video, followed by the reading of the Joint Meritorious Unit Award citation.
From 2019 through 2021, domestic and global challenges were many, and the employees of the Defense Logistics Agency rose to the highest levels of service for the country. The DLA workforce met every challenge with dedication, sacrifice, and professionalism. DLA's standards of excellence served the warfighter and the nation well. Their accomplishments are recognized through this Joint Meritorious Unit Award.
Admiral Skubik and Command Sergeant Major O'Neill will now come forward to present the Joint Meritorious Unit Award and streamer to the Defense Logistics Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. The citation reads, "The Defense Logistics Agency distinguished itself by exceptionally meritorious service from 1 January 2019 to 31 December 2021. During this period, the Defense Logistics Agency surged to meet requirements for warfighters globally while supporting the coronavirus 2019 pandemic response, delivering millions of test kits, consumables, and personal protective equipment. The Defense Logistics Agency successfully delivered 832,595 vaccines to 97 military treatment facilities in 34 countries, providing enough quantities to vaccinate over 547,600 Department of Defense personnel at overseas locations. Despite the depletion of the United States Strategic National Stockpile at the pandemic's origin, the Defense Logistics Agency delivered over 4.5 billion gloves, 6.7 million goggles, and 4.8 million face shields to multiple locations valued at over $600 million. Concurrently, the Defense Logistics Agency rapidly mobilized and deployed personnel in support of the Federal Emergency Management Agency during Hurricane Ida, arranging critical fuel transport to the state of Louisiana and processing nearly 800 trailers of meals, water, and medical supplies in the hurricane's aftermath. The Defense Logistics Agency also supported a full withdrawal from Afghanistan in support of Operations Allies Refuge and Allies Welcome, providing consumables to facilitate a stable flow of evacuee processing and safe haven buildup. By their exemplary performance of duty, the members of the Defense Logistics Agency have brought great credit to themselves and the Department of Defense. Signed, Lloyd J. Austin III, Secretary of Defense, 15th day of January, 2023. I would like to invite Mr. Bunn, Vice Director, Defense Logistics Agency, to come center stage for the photo. Thank you, sir. Please be seated. Admiral Skubik and Command Sergeant Major O'Neill, please remain standing. At this time, Admiral Skubik will conduct the change of responsibility ceremony. Command Chief Master Sergeant Dyer, please join Admiral Skubik and Command Sergeant Major O'Neill. The change of responsibility ceremony is a military tradition that is rich with symbolism and heritage dating back to medieval times. Soldiers often carried staffs or standards into battle that identified them as a unit. Throughout military history, unit colors have marked the position of the commander on the battlefield. In more recent times, the colors represent not only the heritage and history of the unit, but also the unity and loyalty of all its members, both military and civilian. Since the beginning of our nation's history, it's been a time-honored tradition to provide an orderly transfer of responsibility and accountability. Command Sergeant Major Tomeka N. O'Neill will relinquish her responsibility as the Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Defense Logistics Agency, to the new Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Command Chief Master Sergeant Alvin R. Dyer. This action is symbolized in the ceremonial passing of the organizational colors and signifies the transfer of total responsibility, authority, and accountability from one individual to another. Master Sergeant Brown will pass the colors to Command Sergeant Major O'Neill. The passing of the colors from Command Sergeant Major O'Neill to Vice Admiral Skubik signifies that the Defense Logistics Agency is never without senior enlisted leadership. The passing of the colors from Admiral Skubik to Command Chief Master Sergeant Dyer, the new senior enlisted leader, signifies the passing of her trust as she charges Command Chief Master Sergeant Dyer with the responsibility for the organization's mission and the welfare of its military and civilian personnel. Command Chief Dyer will now pass the colors back to Master Sergeant Brown. Thank you, Admiral Skubik and Command Sergeant Major O'Neill. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Command Chief Master Sergeant Alvin Dyer, Senior Enlisted Leader, Defense Logistics Agency.
Wow. Oh, okay. Sorry, ma'am. So let me say thank you for everybody in attendance today. Just give me 30 football seconds and I'll be done. Or maybe 15 seconds, I'll be done. As always, let me just start by saying thank you, God, for using me as your humble servant to serve in this capacity. It is truly an honor to be here before you today, and I could not do that without my Creator. To the many distinguished visitors in attendance, thank you for coming far and wide. Some of you I've worked with in the past, and some I'm really looking forward to working with you and meeting you in the future. Ceremonies like this just don't magically happen. It takes a lot of hard work from a lot of people from behind the scenes. So I want to say, Ms. Gwen, to the protocol team, thank you. Sergeant Gary, you've been running hard since you got here, taking care of this business, so thank you. And to all the other professionals, both military and civilian, that are taking care of business behind the scenes, working tireless to make this happen. It is truly an outstanding ceremony because of you. Today is about family. The family that I was born with and the family that I was sworn with. I would truly not be here without both. First, to my family that I was born with. Through the many ups and downs, multiple assignments, the many deployments, countless TDYs, the long hours away from home, your love and support supported me throughout all of those times. And even the times when I was at home, and you know mentally I was not, thank you for being there. Words can never fully describe how much you truly mean to me. And all that tuned in virtually and in the crowd, I just want to say thank you. Today, I am truly the leader I am because of you. To the family that I was sworn with, the many mentors who had the patience to deal with a knucklehead, know-it-all, Al Dyer from Memphis, Tennessee, you pushed me to be my full potential. And just when I thought I had given everything, you pushed me further. Thanks for pushing me to become the person I am today, both professionally and personally, so thank you. To my new family members that I've been sworn with, starting with Admiral Skubik. Ma'am, I knew from the first time we talked in our interview, I knew I wanted to work for you. From that moment on, I knew it was going to be great. I know you had an all-star cast of potential command senior enlisted leaders to choose from, but I'm humble you chose me. And I'm glad to be your shipmate, or as we would say, my wingman. I know that you said before that I'm your backup quarterback. But with your permission, ma'am, I think I want to try out for a different position. I think I want to be your left guard. And just like the movie The Blind Side, which is a shout out to my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee, ma'am, I want to protect your blind side. You need to be able to freely operate in the pocket, move down the field without any worry of being sacked or injured. I don't want you to ever worry about your weak side because you know I got your back. Now, having said that, I still can play a little quarterback. When you need me to. To Command Sergeant Major O'Neill, my new big sister. I know I'm only a couple of inches taller than you, but you are now my big sister. You have made this transition absolutely amazing. From the moment we had our first email to the moment you saw me come through the door, you've been absolutely amazing. I have nothing but great things to say about this individual, and y'all can see that in the ceremony. I hope that I'm able to take the baton that you have, take this organization to new, higher feats, and finish what you started. Part of the reason why, I was so successful at this transition is because of her. And I just want to say, Sergeant Major, as I started going around talking to all of the different J codes, it was a resounding theme that I start to hear, throughout all of them when I was talking to them. One is that they absolutely love you, hands down. And then two, the one thing they kept telling me is you got big shoes to fill. Now, I wear 13. But in the world of professionalism, she's got some really big shoes. And I hope to do just what you started, and that is run hard and run fast. Thank you for being such an amazing teammate. Finally, to my DLA family, I know I have big boots to fill, and I promise you nothing less than my very best. I am a servant leader, and I will serve alongside you to address the new things that threaten our global environment. I will serve with you to ensure, with you as a family, deliver readiness, lethality to the warfighters always, and support our great nation through quality and proactive global logistics. So in the words of DLA's first director, Lieutenant General McNamara, let's get going. Thank you.
Thank you, Command Chief Master Sergeant Dyer. We are excited to have you on board. Welcome to Team DLA, and congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, today we also come together to celebrate the illustrious career of Command Sergeant Major Tomeka N. O'Neill after 34 years of service. Please direct your attention to the screen for a photo montage honoring Command Sergeant Major O'Neill's Army career. this time, Admiral Skubik will present Command Sergeant Major O'Neill with the Army Distinguished Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the reading of the citation. The President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress, July 9th, 1918, has awarded the Distinguished Service Medal to Command Sergeant Major Tomeka N. O'Neill, United States Army, for exceptionally meritorious service to the government in duties of great responsibility over a 34-year career, culminating as a Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Defense Logistics Agency. During her tenure, her outstanding leadership and ceaseless efforts contributed significantly to the national security of the United States. As a Senior Enlisted Leader of America's Combat Logistics Support Agency, CSM O'Neill provided sage counsel and compassionate leadership of a global expeditionary workforce of over 26,000 civilian and military personnel, administering a $41 billion a year enterprise across 9 supply chains, the National Defense Stockpile, an international network of 25 distribution centers, and the department's process for reverse logistics. Her participation in the most sensitive and critical panels, boards, and symposia on behalf of the Army senior leaders will shape service and personnel decisions for years to come. Her incredible contributions to the Army speaks to a leader of incredible capacity of thought and commitment to the cause of the soldiers. CSM O'Neill served as an advocate not only for Defense Logistics Agency and the Army, but was a champion for service across the department. The distinctive accomplishments of CSM O'Neill culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of her country and reflect great credit upon her and the Defense Logistics Agency and the United States Army. Admiral Skubik and Command Sergeant Major O'Neill, please remain standing. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, Admiral Skubik will present CSM O'Neill with a certificate of appreciation for service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America, given by the President. The certificate reads, Command Sergeant Major Tomeka Nolan O'Neill, I extend my personal gratitude and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication to our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., Commander-in-Chief. CSM O'Neill will receive a joint letter from the Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Christine E. Wormuth, General James C. McConville, United States Army Chief of Staff, and the 16th Sergeant Major of the Army, Michael A. Grinston. Admiral Skubik will now present CSM O'Neill with the United States flag. This flag has been flown over the Defense Logistics Agency headquarters, Fort Belvoir, Virginia, on August 8th, 2023. At this time, we would like to ask Command Sergeant Major O'Neill's daughter, Miss Chanel O'Neill, to come join Admiral Skubik and her mother. Admiral Skubik will now present Miss O'Neill with a certificate of appreciation. The certificate reads, the Defense Logistics Agency recognizes you for your selfless, faithful, and devoted support to your mother, Command Sergeant Major Tomeka Nolan O'Neill, and our nation. Your unconditional love, sacrifices, and understanding significantly contributed to her success as the Command Senior Enlisted Leader. On behalf of the Defense Logistics Agency, we thank you for your service. Signed, Michelle C. Skubik, Vice Admiral, United States Navy, Director, Defense Logistics Agency. Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. Please be seated. Admiral Skubik will now present Command Sergeant Major O'Neill with her certificate of retirement and pin from the Armed Forces of the United States. The certificate reads, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all shall see these presents greetings. This is to certify that Command Sergeant Major Tomeka Nolan O'Neill, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Army on the 31st day of January 2024. Signed, James C. McConville, General, United States Army, Chief of Staff. Thank you, Admiral Skubik. Ma'am, please take your seat. Command Sergeant Major O'Neill, please stand by.
I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough. Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drill. I will always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I'm the guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce you to the ultimate American soldier, Command Sergeant Major Tomeka O'Neill, United States Army, retired.
Those are my non-commissioned officers. Because no one is more professional than I. I was good until my non-commissioned officers came up. That I was. Because my intent was to get up here and not go over a history of 34 years of service.
My intent was to say thank you to all the leaders and the personnel that are sitting in this audience today. And to my dearest friends that are sitting on the front row here, that I've known cumulatively for over 30 years. So I'm gonna get over it right now, for the moment. Okay. Good morning, Vice Admiral Skubic, Mr. Bunn, Mr. Smith, Command Chief Dyer, Major General Hoyle, Brigadier General Tyler Gabbard, Brigadier General Retired Dix, Mr. Campbell, Senior Executive for DECA Store Operations, and distinguished guests, friends, family, and most importantly, Team Defense Logistics Agency, the nation's combat logistics support agency. I would like to say thank you. Just thank you all for attending today's ceremonies. Whether in person or virtual, it is an honor to have you here with us today. And I can't go without saying special shout outs to my mother, my sisters, my niece, and other family and friends that are watching via the web also. And to my daughter, who came in from Texas, and my dearest friends who came in from all around today to share this moment with me. It really is an honor and a privilege to stand here before you today as Command Sergeant Major Retired Tomeka O'Neill. I am thankful and blessed by the good Lord for closing this chapter of my life and opening another for me. I am thankful to have been afforded many opportunities to serve in this great Army for this great nation. It's my mom.
It's all right, Val.
I am thankful to have been raised by a phenomenal mother, a single parent of 5, who made tough decisions to ensure that none of us would become a statistic on the streets of Chicago and Georgia, East Point, Georgia, while trying to keep a roof over our head, clothes on our backs, and food on the table. I am quite sure I was the one who was leaning toward breaking that streak. Definitely breaking that streak if I had not followed in my brother's footsteps, who passed away suddenly in 2018. And I joined the Army just because of him, watching him be a successful African-American male leader at the Georgia Military Academy. And the first to lead the Army ROTC program for that university as an African-American male. He was the one person that I always watched and observed who gave all he had to ensure my mother. I just still remember this 15, 16, 17-year-old man, young man, working hard, helping my mother with all of us. I just remember it. And he has always been the lead. He's always been the leader in my life. And although I didn't get to say it a lot because he left and did his tour duty in the military, and then he just stayed in education forever, he always knew. I just wanted him to know I was his #1 fan. And it's because of him I actually raised my right hand to be all I could be. And I hope he's watching me today and just knowing that I gave my all over these 34 years. Now I'm going to try and get past this. So, you know, your family is always the most emotional part. Your dearest friends are always the most emotional part of this. But I'm going to tell you, my story is probably no different than many of you guys that are sitting here today. It's probably no different. However, my mom actually had to sign my paperwork because I was not turning 18 until I was shipped off to basic training. And all I could say about basic training was, bless Drill Sergeant Nash and Drill Sergeant Bartlett and Drill Sergeant Riley's hearts, because they had to deal with a whole platoon of female teeny boppers trying to become soldiers, and it was absolutely the funniest and most challenging sight to see at times. And I still remember those days. You know what else? I never forgot my recruiter's name. His name was Staff Sergeant John Forehand. And ma'am, this is the true story. The true story of how I became a parachute rigger. And there we were, while sitting on the couch in the living room with my mother over there, Staff Sergeant Forehand over there, and me over here. And I said, I don't care what job you give me. I just want to jump out of planes. And I said that. So he sat there and shuffled some papers a little bit, and I'm like, looked around for, a minute, looked up and said, to me. And he looked dead at me. I have the perfect MOS for you. And I was like, I can jump out of planes? Perfect MOS for you. And unbeknownst to me, I had to go to jump school first before I could even go to advanced individual training. And I believe to this day, that the black hats at jump school, old school, you guys know what I'm talking about. I believe to this day that those black hats at jump school took joy in us privates not knowing what we were getting into. So they took us on a trip to the parachute packing facility so we could get a first-hand look at our new MOS. And I kid you not, that packing facility at Fort Benning, Georgia, is almost like a football field of nothing but packing tables. And at the time, it was a whole bunch of male soldiers in there. And when we got through the foyer and I got to see it, I passed out. I literally fainted because I could not believe when I came to, I said, this is not what I wanted to do. I knew that. I was like, I just wanted to jump out of planes. But no, he obliged me and he gave me what I asked for. So not only, as the Admiral stated, going through jump school was the first time I'd ever been on a plane. I selected an MOS that I fainted when I saw what my job was going to be. And then I had to go and make these 5 jumps to certify myself to even go do the job. And the little, troublesome private that I wasn't going to quit, so I did it. So not only I had never been on a plane, but when I got on the plane, I was jumping out of it. And I realized I had made a grave error. A real grave error. But nonetheless, I persevered. And that is where Command Sergeant Major retired Mary Brown comes into my story. And unfortunately, she could not be here today, but she is watching, where she came into my story, and for the first time, I'm looking at someone that I said looks like me. And she became my mentor from that moment on. And she watched me through these 34 years of service to where I am today. And there were times I had to lean upon her because I've loved every day of wearing this uniform. And sometimes people will hear me say, I have loved wearing this uniform, but I have definitely met some terrible people along the way. And Mary Brown was always that sounding board for me when I found myself in troubled waters and I wanted to keep moving on and not give up. She was the one person that, if you ever heard somebody say, private, drill sergeants out here, that is just one, when they say it, it is just something that burns your eardrums. And I was the private. Private, private, private. Sometimes it was good private, sometimes it was bad private. But she was the one person, as I stayed in this uniform, who always stayed by me as a senior mentor to me. And I will never, ever forget all of the support she's given me throughout my service. Nonetheless, I can tell you, I can stand up here and tell you story after story after story after story, because everyone who is sitting here today, there is a story for me to tell about something we all did together or where we interact. Look at the first sergeant, Haywood's over there. I see. I would just go through the audience, but there is a story for me to tell, and I've already whimpered enough these first 10 minutes. I'm gonna try and get off this stage, but there's a story to tell. There's a beginning that's important, and so is the end of the story that's important, but more so the middle is filled in by all of you here today. And having served with me in some capacity from private to command sergeant major, that I am thankful to have had you in my story for many seasons. I am thankful for my daughter Chanel, who has endured many moves, many schools, many jobs, separation from friends and family over these years of service. I also have to give a nod to her dad, because he was a part of this effort for 18 years, and he supported all the missions that I had to go on, or TDYs and things of that nature, in support of my time in USASOC. He supported me with that. And to my sister Pam out there, who had my 6-year-old daughter addicted to coffee, she was also the one family, her and my mom were also the family members that I could turn to when either I was set to be on a mission or my husband was set to be on a mission, that I could pack Chanel up and know she was going to be in good hands in my absence. And her father's side of the family did the same thing for us. And I could not stand here today without acknowledging that fact, that her father was just as supportive. To these friends up here, I'm feeling good now. All right, still a sentimental heart, but I got Major Moore, CW5 Williams. I'm just gonna call y'all names off. I just want you to know that. And if I call your name, you know somewhere along the way we served. And we know we served, we had to have some good times and some bad times, but we got the job done, right? So I'm gonna go down the list. Major Moore retired, CW5 Williams. Sergeant Major George Lucemila. Sergeant Major Cannon, where's Miss Higgs? Oh, I'm sorry. Sergeant Major Cannon. She was a young sergeant first class when I first met her. And she wrote me this, when I transitioned from the STB 501st, they wrote me this poem called Ode to Miss O'Neill. And I still got it to this day. So, because they thought I was the beast of burden, but I was also going to take care of them. They knew it for a fact. Sergeant Major Jones, Sergeant Major Floyd, Teacher PC. I was a young sergeant first class when I got into a heated situation over there in Europe. I'll leave it at that. She was my detachment sergeant at the time, and you know what? She walked me right on through it and said it was going to be okay, and it turned out to be okay. And we have remained friends since 96, 97, at least from that point in time. We've stayed together with one another. To Sergeant Major Haywood and First Sergeant Haywood, they was y'all weren't married when we was in Korea though, were you? That was afterwards, right? Okay. I'm just saying, I said once you just gotta love them. That's all I say. You just gotta love them, you know. But once again, just leaders that, you know, they were subordinates to me, but they're just people that have touched my heart along the way, and they have just reached back, and every now and then they'll say, "Hey," and I give you the third degree in the text, like, "Who are you? When did I meet you?" They look at me something like, "Who are you? When did I meet you? What's your spouse's name?" You know, just for confirmation. But no, it was wonderful, and you guys know why you're still in my heart today. I got First Sergeant Willis here. This right here is AKA Riley. If anybody know or ever watched the Boondocks, you know why AKA him Riley. He was another one of my first sergeants. I had the best team ever in the 501st STB. We were small, but we packed a powerful punch, I can tell you that much. And he was one of my first sergeants that led the way in a lot of the training efforts we had to execute. Don't get me wrong, he did finance toward the end, but that right there is a true killer. He was a combat army. He was infantryman before he changed over. True killer right there, and he took care of me as well along the way. So, and I'm thankful to have you here today to share in this moment with me as well. And he was always hyping up the whole situation. His favorite quote for me was when we were in a forum is, "Wait for it, wait for it." Because he knew somebody was going to say something. His Sergeant Major was going to say, "What was that?" And he'd just be like, "Wait for it." But you know, it stay in my heart always, my brother. CW2 Mills. This young man right here, just stand up for me, Mills. This young man right here came to me as a PFC, as my driver in the brigade, when I was a brigade CSM for the 1st Infantry Division Sustainment Brigade. I had fired multiple drivers and all the first sergeants because they couldn't get me from point A to point B on Riley. And all the first sergeants were afraid to send up candidates. But First Sergeant Hammond sent PFC Mills at the time to come up there and interview. And I have not had a bad episode to see where he is today. This young man is a CW2. I've watched him go from PFC to Sergeant First Class to Warrant Officer. And nothing but the best for you and your future endeavors, because I know you're going to go far. I know me and his mom kind of relate. Keep an eye. CW4 Penna, I don't know if he's here today, but he was just a silent assailant when I came up here to DLA. And I couldn't close this chapter without saying, because he walked the dog so we could take care of Army soldiers so that they had the appropriate ACFT equipment so they can test and not be trying to make excuses about, well, we can't get with DITRA. or we can't get with somebody else. He walked the dog on that, and ma'am, thank you for approving it for the agency, for our NCOs, for our Army NCOs to daggone maintain their qualifications, because we couldn't have done it without you, period, supporting us. So, Penna, if you're not here, I think I'm going to be at your farewell on the 18th. I will see you then. Command Sergeant Major Sims, Command Sergeant Major Lyons, she's right here. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I was a stalker when I think you were selected for USERA. I stalked you ever since, because it was awesome to me. She was one of our first Army senior Command Sergeant Majors to make it to that level. So I have always had her on my radar, and I've always watched you, and you've always entertained me when I had to come by and give you the not so good updates and the good updates, and you always said, well, take this back and make sure you're doing this right, in accordance with cyber. So thank you for being here today. I could not have asked for a better mentor and senior leader to watch along the way. I got Command Sergeant Major Hendricks. I don't see him. Command Sergeant Major Bell, he's right over there. Let me tell you the true story behind Bell and I's meeting. And my other battle buddy right there, Smalls, he was the reason I met Bell. But as everybody called me, I'm their little sister, right? And he was the ACC Command Sergeant Major at the time for the Army Contracting Command. And he said, I need you to meet somebody. And what did I say? I don't want to meet nobody. Because that's typical O'Neill. I don't want to meet nobody. And he was like, look, O'Neill, you can go in here and you can go meet this Sergeant Major. And you know what? Thank you, Battle, for making me go in and meet that Sergeant Major right there. Because once again, he has been at the forefront of coaching, teaching, and mentoring me along the way. And I could not find a more humble servant to look to my left and say, thank you again, my brother, for being here. Couldn't have done it without you. And that brother right there, I couldn't have done it without you either. So thank you. I got Command Sergeant Major Brian. He's sitting right there. Most of y'all know him as, I think he said Maurice. And I said, who is Maurice? I was like, I don't know no Maurice. I said, but I know Tony. I know Command Sergeant Major Bryant. I said, because we shared First Sergeant patios when we were First Sergeants together back in Special Operations Support Command. And you know what? Once again, just one of those leaders that led the way, took this little smart girl right here and said, come on, stop playing around. And y'all just watched me and y'all helped me. And once again, just thank you for being here. He's also on Team DLA down at FORCECOM as our L&O. I still don't know Maurice, so stop playing. Okay? We'll leave it at that. And I have a dear friend who's in the audience with me today, Command Sergeant Major Stevens, retired. We were deployed together. We had a rough deployment together. We went through some medical stuff together, and we came out on the other end. And I just wanted to say thank you for being here today. August is an emotional month for me, okay? I'll tell you why toward the end. I got Sergeant Major Pouillat and his spouse here today. Pouillat, I know I only met you. I said, but you and I don't know what it is. I think we just clicked. I don't know if it's because you're just as quiet as I am or what. I was like, but he's a good guy. He's a good leader. He's a good Command Sergeant Major, and you are doing wonderful things for our ASAL. And keep forging on, and of course, I think your future is bright, and hopefully we'll see you at the 4-star level as well, if you choose not to retire. I got a whole bunch of teammates in here. I got the Naumanns and the Bairds. There she is. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but Command Sergeant Major Naumann, she is the first female Command Sergeant Major of a functional Army organization. She is the USASOC Command Sergeant Major. She is the first. And I'm just going to tell you, for those that are looking for someone, if you want to learn, grow, and mentor and have someone to reach out to, I'm going to put you on blast and be like, Joanne is one of those leaders that will continue to take care of and bring upward mobility and visibility to our young women that are still serving in this Army, to let them know their potential is unmatched and they can go technically to the stars, to the stars. Sergeant Major Knox, Sergeant Major Q. I know I saw, there she is right there. She is one of the most direct people I've ever met, and I think that's why we get along. She says it like it is, and that's what I love about people. Don't beat around the bush with me, just say it. And you know what? A few people wanted to write you off the table, and I'm like, absolutely not. We're gonna keep you in this game, because I think you still have potential to serve and still represent our female senior non-commissioned officers in this Army. And I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you for being here today. Sergeant Major Julie Guerra, I'm just gonna tell y'all this one quick story. Bless Julie Guerra's heart and bless the new Sergeant Major of the Army's heart. They happened to park him in between Guerra and me on the non-panel. Denison's right here, and he can attest that we probably wore him out every other quarter. So our new SMA is definitely well-worn and tested, and he's gonna do a great job in support of us. But Denison, you're on this list too. So I can hit you up. I got Crosby out there, Jill Crosby, thank you for what you do for SMMD and the Sergeant Majors. I got Sergeant Major Orvis right here. We served in the mighty what? 1st Infantry Division together. SMA Grinston was our division command sergeant major, so we learned well. I tell you, he builds character, I can tell you that much. And you know what? We all did well in that process. And thank you for being here today, Larry, as well. I'm gonna close, not close, but I'm gonna say the 16th and 17th SMAs who could regrettably could not be here today, as well as SimSAF Bass, but they sent me some wonderful notes. And, you know, I am touched by those as well. Now, all of the DLA non-commissioned officers, J&D code leadership, MSCs, the regionals, our civilians and contractors that I have met along the way, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say it enough. Many of you did not probably get to see me in person, but I was probably on somebody's video somewhere. And you know what? It's okay. It's 26,000 of you, and it was 2 of us. So we couldn't make it everywhere, but we tried. We tried to split our efforts, I can tell you that much, to get out there. You guys are my heart, and I know it. I tell you all, I think I say this, that you all are my favorites, right? You all are my favorites. I am thankful for Brigadier General Gabbard, who selected me for my first nominative position. I have Brigadier General Dix, who selected me for my second non-position, and I'm thankful to have you here today, and I know you brought a guest with you as well. Thank you all for joining me today. When he called me, and he made the selection after interview, he said, "You know it's you, right?" And I was like, because I'm gonna tell you, interviewing is a humbling experience. And no, you don't know if it's you or not. But he called me back and he said it's going to be you. And I could not say thank you enough for that, sir. And I have Brigadier General, she was Brigadier General Hoyle, but she's Major General Hoyle now. She served in the middle of that. I think I had, 3 JMC commanders during that time. But it was okay because the Army had bigger and better things for you. And Dr. D has always been there with you as well. But the Army just had bigger and better things for you. So unselfishly, I relented and, and let you go along with that. But no, just thank you, ma'am, because we have always, I think we knew each other before then, we brigades. I had one of her EOD battalions under the Sustainment Brigade, and I think that's where our relationship comes from. And that's her other battle buddy back there, Command Sergeant Major Shirey, who's changing out DITRA, I want to say September 6th, right? So I'll be here for that one as well. So you just build these lasting relationships, and you know, they're important because you never know when you're going to circle back around and see these people again or be in need of assistance somewhere along the way. I got Staff Sergeant First Class Diaz. That's Tomeka right there too. I think anybody with the name Tomeka is just #1 in my book. But bless her heart, she got tagged to be my EA and JMC. And it was a hard working experience, wasn't it, Sergeant Diaz? But we made it, right? And I'm glad to have you here today as well. I am so thankful, so pleasantly pleased, and just to be here today. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Rear Admiral retired SCS-3 Robert Bianchi for selecting me for DECA, who is currently in Hawaii, and I hope he's okay with everything that's going on. And he sends me his regrets, but I really do hope he's okay. I think he selected me because I said I am a diehard commissary fan. And I told him, and I think everybody out here know, because I'll send you a note on AAFES and commissary in a minute, because I truly believe we should utilize those benefits that we do have out there. He selected me for my first, 3-star position, and then I give acknowledgement to Lieutenant General Williams for selecting me to serve here at DLA, and then I have finished this journey with Vice Admiral Michelle Skubic, my sister-in-arms, shipmate, and battle buddy. I could not have asked for a better conclusion to 34 wonderful years of service than serving it with you. I just couldn't. If I missed anyone, it's not purposeful, because all of you are my favorites. So when I say that, there's no bias there. Everybody's my favorite. So for those that will continue to serve our great Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, this great organization, and our nation, I wish you Godspeed in your future endeavors. August is, just give me one. Also, August is the 11th anniversary that our 4th Infantry Division, 4th BCT, 4th STB, lost many good people during our deployment to Afghanistan. And I wish that those soldiers, airmen, and civilians, I did have some Air Force with me, and civilians continue to rest in peace. My humble opinion, I state, there's no higher role that is bestowed upon an enlisted service member than Command Sergeant Major, the senior advisor to the commander. It is a role sought and coveted by many, but only a few actually attain. It is the role of the quiet professional, where you are sought to provide sound and sage advice based on your knowledge and experience that allows for a commander to execute sound judgment when decisive decisions are required. Albeit a challenging feat, I have had the privilege to fill this role as Command Sergeant Major for the past 17 years in my military career within a myriad of organizations, and I still believe it is the best role the Army has ever selected me for, and I am very thankful for that. To the workforce of the Defense Logistics Agency, although we are uniquely structured with a strong civilian footprint, I wanted you to know that I was your Command Sergeant Major too. And I was here to support you as you have done and will continue to do for DLA directors and Command Senior Enlisted leaders, past and present. Lastly, as I begin my transition, a famous poet once wrote, and I will ad-lib this a bit, but it has always meant the most to me, and it goes a little something like this. I'm not getting ready to rap. It states, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. I believe that fear of the unknown is a weakness, and one should never be afraid of change, because the road not taken may be the road to unimaginable success. In closing, thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules today to join me for my change of responsibility and retirement ceremony because it is sincerely appreciated. To Command Chief Dyer and your family, I wish you nothing but the best as you have joined the nation's premier logistics organization in support of our global mission. Thank you to the awesome NCOs who took the lead and organized this ceremony today. The color guard, to the best protocol team ever. Ms. Gwen, don't be trying to hide up there. You knew I was going to call you out. I don't think there's no one more professional than Ms. Gwen, and she always makes sure, and my Sergeant Brown up there, my protocol team, and where's Mr. Lewis? He's out there too. A lot of weight gets put on them to make sure we get these things right. To the best audio visual and the best photographer, I hear Chris still clicking. I know he's somewhere. Okay. And the best photographer there is. So please, let's give them one more round of applause. Take care, God bless, warfighter always, soldier for life, and be all you can be.
Thank you, Command Sergeant Major O'Neill. The men and women of the Defense Logistics Agency are proud to have served with you and wish you and your family every success in future endeavors. Guests, please remain standing for the playing of the Armed Forces Medley. We encourage past and present service members to sing their service song when it is played. The words are printed on the back of your program.
All right, we're gonna do this a cappella. Are we? Who getting ready to start? I'm gonna start the Army. All right, then who comes next? The Marines? Stay up there. We got a malfunction. Sergeant Major, you're gonna go ahead and lead this one. Y'all ready? All right. First you fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the Army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the Army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the Army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the Army goes rolling along. Marine.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Anchors away.
Anchors away. Farewell to college shores, we sail at break of day. Our last night on shore, sail to the foam. Until we meet much more, here's wishing you a happy voyage home.
Here they come, soon to meet our thunder.
Adam Hall,
Give him the gun, give him the gun.
down we dive, spouting the flames from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame, go down in flames.
Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.
Okay, this is gonna be hard.
Okay, this is the Space Force. None of us can do that. We're gonna let them ride.
We'll practice that one next time. And do we have a coastie in here anywhere to help help with the following? No, I think we're going to call it.
Yes, ma'am.
Valiant effort, all, I have to say. All right.
Final portion of the ceremony will include a cake cutting in the rotunda, which includes the official party and Mr. Bunn. We ask that you please remain at your seats until I conclude the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Official party and Mr. Bunn, please proceed to the rotunda. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of Vice Admiral Michelle Skubic, thank you for attending. All guests are invited to welcome Command Chief Master Sergeant Dyer in the rotunda in a receiving line and cafeteria for a reception. Thank you for your attendance and have a great day.